Hello and welcome everybody to the Google Digital Garage. Today we'll be doing Find Customers with Google Maps. We have the brilliant Francois with us today, who will be moderating your session. So do feel free to say hello. He's not just a moderator, he's also one of the Google Digital Garage trainers. I've had the honor of working with him a few times. So do feel free to introduce yourself, maybe introduce your business, or worst case scenario, just say hello. My name is Joseph Kelly Muldoon. I've been working this project now for a good few years. So I do like to make these sessions as interactive as possible. Otherwise, it's just me and my imagination making the session as fun as possible. So if you do want to introduce your business, maybe introduce yourself, give us a little bit of context around what it is exactly your business is doing. We can essentially not use the examples in the presentation, not use the examples that spring to mind when I'm just going through today's presentation, and actually use your business as a bit of an example. Hopefully this then will give you a few more sort of solid ideas of what you could do to, I suppose, improve your business, and the examples will be based around your business as opposed to a randomly made up one. Throughout today's session, if you do have any technical issues, Francois is always there to help as much as he can. But as a general rule of thumb, approximately here, you'll find the refresh button. Any problems you have with audio, any problems you have with video, if it suddenly looks like it's a dubbed over movie, the best and easiest solution is hit the refresh button. Any additional problems, feel free to stick it in the comments. If you can't leave a comment, it's probably because you're not signed in with a Gmail account. Go to the top right-hand corner where the big blue square is saying sign in or sign up, and sign in or sign up. You can do this while you're watching the presentation and then get involved a little bit later on. So do feel free to get involved. Do feel free to trying to make this session as interactive as possible. If I'm very honest, the more fun it is for me, generally the more fun it is for you, because the more you can take away from it, the more interactive it is, the more engaging it is, means that hopefully both of us will take away more from this as well. So without any further ado, let's kick into today's session. So we're going to break down today's session into 3 key points. Most Google Digital Garage presentations are broke down like this. It just means it's a really nice way of you to sort of, I suppose, not have to overthink, not get overpowered with too much stuff. So always remember that it's going to be broken down into 3 key points. The first one is creating your listing and getting verified. So how can we do this and what is getting verified? The second one is optimizing your listing with key information. So what should we include? What shouldn't we include? What is it you see online maybe sometimes when you're looking at listings? What are the things that teeter you over the edge to go, actually, I'm going to go and bring this business for a takeaway or a sushi maybe? And then the last thing, engage customers with Google business profile features. So what features are going to be used that are actually going to engage people, are going to drive more people to frequent your business, to phone your business, to go to the website and get some form of interaction to get them past that point of, I'm just looking, what's going to make them engage? And remember, one thing to never forget about is the Google Digital Garage one-to-one mentorings. So if you would like a one-to-one mentoring session, you're a small business based in the UK or a charity, this is a perfect opportunity for you to have a little look, have a little test, maybe see if we can help develop some of your online presence. There are about, I don't know how many categories. I think there's 8 to 10 different categories you can choose from. The process takes approximately 2 minutes. Literally put in your name, email address, and the area you would like some development in. Remember, this is not a fix-it shop. This is not a will solve your problems because you've got them. This is more about understanding what you understand and taking that step further by having a one-to-one mentoring session with Digital Garage trainers who know what they're talking about in the key area that you're looking into. So do have a think about this. This is an amazing opportunity. It's totally free. If you go to g.co/UK mentoring, Francois will put a link, I am sure, as normal in the comments. So do feel free to click on that link, save it for later on, fill it out now. It's entirely up to you. An amazing opportunity, though, that I could not recommend getting involved in enough. So the next thing we're going to have a look at is, I suppose, what is the process and why would you do this? So all of you will be familiar with this, but for now, let's have a little task. If you were going out for dinner tonight, find a restaurant. I want you to find one that you'd like to go to. So how would you actually do this? So in the little chat box, in the little comments, what is the process that you are doing that you do normally? And just explain that to us in very brief sort of words, I suppose. So for me, massively, I would usually use a certain keyword that sets off my phone, but I do have a speaker in the corner as well, so that will set off. So instead, I might just push the button and go restaurant near me. And then when that comes up, I flick through top rated restaurants usually, because I don't particularly want food that's not great. And then I'll decide from this what exactly it is for me that is going to help me decide what I'm not going to do. Hopefully some of you will get involved. If you've not, don't worry. You're more than welcome just to follow along. But for me, that means I'm looking at stars. I'm looking at pictures. I'm looking at imagery. I'm looking at food, which means we have to consider these things. If we're looking at this, what are other people looking at? So how did you search for that restaurant? Did you use Google? Did you use Google Maps? If you went onto Google, did you then go through to Google Maps? Because if you have said yes to any of these, which is quite often the way that people do things, well, then essentially this is why you're here. Because essentially you want to make it so that your customers can find you on Google Maps. So straight away, we've now got a bit of an idea of actually, well, what are the things you looked for? What are the things that made a difference when you were searching for these results? For me, absolute bare minimum, 4-star. Absolute bare minimum, it's going to have a website or some form of link that it can go to somewhere. And I'll often have a little flick through the reviews to make sure they're not questionable or maybe bought. And in addition to that, I will also have a look at some of the pictures to see are there any dishes that really switch on my taste buds. And that's my personal preference. Everybody has different ways of doing things, but we've got to start considering this because this is a journey that a user may take. So what we now need to consider is now we've thought how people look for things. Well, how can we throw our hat into the ring? How can we, brilliant. Thank you very much, Sam, for getting involved. Gastropub near me. Thank you, Francois. So straight away, listing your business on Google Maps. We now know how people search for it. Both people in the comments here have basically said the same as me, is you'll essentially find it through some form of Google interaction. So once you get to this point of listing it, we need to think, well, what benefits are brought by Google Maps listing when looking for products or services? So essentially, when we think about this, is the benefit is getting you out there. If you watch other presentations like Google Analytics, there's a nice little saying, which is REAM, which is the first one. Oh, it's gone from my head. What is it? Gone 2 seconds, people. REAM. It will come to me in a minute. It's just not coming to me right now. Essentially, it's the different stages through the funnel. And the stages we're looking at is engagement. We want people to be able to engage in our business, which means straight away, if they're on Google Maps, what they're looking at is this business something that I am interested in? Is this business something that actually is going to make me take this step further? So just being out there, reach was the word I was looking for. So reach, engagement. So what we need to do is find you in the first place. So a Google Maps listing means you've put your name of your business out there. If someone types gastropub, if someone types takeaway, if someone types sushi, at the end of the day, if you're not on these listings, the only way they're going to know about you is through someone recommending them, you walking down the high street and seeing it, possibly a leaflet, or possibly on Facebook or a website that you may have been on before. But to drive new people, which is essentially your goal, should always be to driving new traffic, new footfall to your business. Well, then being on Google Maps is a simple way of doing this. 33% of people look for business hours. And please make sure those business hours are accurate. For example, there's a place near me, which was a bakery. I think it was a sourdough bakery. When it first opened, I was absolutely buzzing. We had a sourdough bakery less than 100 meters from my house. And I thought, right, I'll pop there one day. Went on to Google my business, went sourdough, I think it's called Zion Bakery, I think. Found it. It said opening hours between 8 and 10, Monday to Saturday. I was like, brilliant. I'll go along. Went along on a Friday afternoon and it was shut. And I was baffled because I was like, I definitely read that on Google Maps. I checked it on Google Maps. I looked at it on the door in front of me on Google Maps. On the sign in front of me, on the actual building, it said closed on Fridays between, I think it was up till 12 o'clock or something like that. So straight away, I got a bad vibe. I got a negative, negative bit of, what's the word I'm looking for here? A negative visit, shall we say, which then meant I quite trepidly made sure next time I went, I was just walking past because I didn't want to walk there to find out it was closed. 32% of people look for the location and 27% of people look for reviews. So each one of them is basically in the 1 in 3 mark, which means straight away, if there's 1 in 3 people looking for most of them, that means most people are looking for some of that information. And if you've not listed any of that information, then essentially you are what I would class as a not particularly well populated Google My Business. It's not got all the information someone's looking for. And all of these decisions are made like this, which means straight away, if they're glancing down it and you've got 1 review and they've got 25 reviews, you're 4-star, they're 4-star, who are you going to believe more? So start to think about how this may benefit you. It essentially puts you in front of people. It's called reach and engagement is what you want people to be able to do. The next thing we need to then consider is a complete listing, not just some of it filled in. I just talked then about, for example, people looking up hours, location, and reviews. That is literally one small section versus your entire Google My Business listing. So a complete listing on Google helps customers engage with you, more likely to consider you based on reputation. Because when people write a review, that's nearly as good as one of their own friends writing something. When you're reading about it, it's trustworthy. It's someone that's been there. Usually it's contextual. You're also more likely to visit attracted to online locations and then go there physically. So straight away, it's people attracted to locations because it's physically in their vicinity. And most importantly, all of these are going to lead to a purchase. This is what you want people to do. So if someone goes onto your Google My Business, sees the reviews, clicks on the website, they're already in the frame of mind to buy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have searched it in the first place, which means how are you going to take them to the next stage? Your pictures on your website, your content on your website, matching what you're talking about in your Google My Business. You're taking people down the sales rabbit hole, and they have to choose, do they want to come back out or do they want to keep going deeper? And this is why it matters at every stage, which is very important at this stage to go, how do we keep people coming down here? What's the advantages of keeping people here? So one of the main things you can definitely do with Google My Business is keeping people in the loop. So here's 3 examples of people who didn't have Google My Business. And then 3 great examples of successful marketing using Google My Business. So straight away, Go East Chinese Supermarket. Go East Chinese Supermarket listed themselves on Google Map once lockdown started, and this led to 100% increase in online visitors. Most of these visitors were based locally, and this meant that they could market their products and let customers know when the supermarket was still open for business. People didn't know, some people assumed, some people wouldn't go. Maybe you could organize collections, maybe you could organize things to be prepped for you. But the main thing is they had a channel of communication that pre-COVID did not exist. They went straight away, oh, this is going to cause a problem because we're a physical shop where people come and we can't communicate as easy as we did before. So straight away, a nice, easy win. Boom. Google My Business. You've now listed all this information to keep your customers up to date. If you've changed times, if you've changed content, if you've changed anything, keep them up to date on Google My Business. New offers, new ideas that you have. The second one here is Uncle John's Bakery. So displayed the business adaptation. So what did they have to do when COVID happened? How did they change this? They promoted online shop and they sold to a new existing customers, which then meant all of a sudden people that didn't know about them were now looking for local bread, were now looking for local producers, were now looking for local shops who were struggling. The amount of random things I did during lockdown, like wine tasting, gin tasting, cheese tasting, bread delivery, sandwich delivery, that I would never have normally done, but I couldn't spend money on anything else, and I wanted to support local. This is the definition of this. They were able to benefit from Google Maps during the pandemic. And it then meant that they got a hell of a lot of new people who were online shoppers. And they also meant they can sell more during lockdown because their physical store may not have been as busy. And then last of all, the little box of books. Using Google Analytics, we could see that all of our website visits tripled from March to April. And we sold the most books we have ever sold in a month. So straight away, when you're thinking about this, you're driving traffic and sales. This is a demonstration of this. They soon realized that increasing the number of children being homeschooled meant they needed books and would increase dramatically. She then used Google's tools to find new customers. And since March, her websites have tripled, leading to sell more books. In fact, Little Box of Books sold the most books they have ever sold in that month. So hopefully straight away, what we're trying to demonstrate is there's not just one tool does all. Google My Business puts you online. Google Analytics can tell you additional bits of information. So start to research some of these tools, because all of these tools basically build traffic and, more importantly, build knowledge, because that knowledge can then help you moving forward. If you're posting, say, once a month and you've not got a full profile and you may be getting 1 or 2 visits, what starts to happen when you start to fill in this profile? When you're posting regular events, when you're posting regular things on your Google My Business, it shows as active. It shows that you are putting time into this. You will then be rewarded by more people seeing you. More people seeing you, more people go to your website, more people buy things. Hopefully, the more reviews you get. And that cycle continues. All because one day you tried Google My Business. All because one day you spent that extra little bit of time looking into some analytics. So the 4 steps to creating a Google Maps listing, essentially, it is super easy. And it's only getting easier and easier and easier. Create your listing using Google Business Profile. Complete your profile. Please spend that time. It's a little bit like LinkedIn. You just go through each individual section and fill it in. Times that you're open. Takes a few minutes to fill in. Information about your business. Consider some keywords at this point as well. So what area are you based in? What are you selling? What are people searching for? Spend a little bit of time maybe on Google Trends to see what it is that people actually search for in that language. So for example, one example of this is if you're selling Wellingtons. In the UK, we say wellies, we say Wellingtons. I found out since doing some courses that, for example, in America, they say welly bobs and rain boots. And actually, they're far more popular than the word Wellingtons. So spend a bit of time developing that bio or developing that description of your business and consider what it is you're going to include here. Write everything so that if you could just read 1 paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs, you've got all the information that you need about your business, including the area that you actually work in and the actual products or services that you supply. You'll be surprised how many people do not do this. Once you've done this, verify your business and then populate your listings. So let's go into this in a little bit more detail. So to be able to actually create a Google My Business profile, I say it just casually. Even if you typed into Google, create Google My Business profile, it will still come up. But if you want the direct website, it's business.google.com. That will, as if by magic, appear in the comments by Francois, as usual. Thank you very much. Then you'll be able to set up your individual profiles. What's amazing about this now is that once you've got this set up and you just go to Google, now you can start to edit this content straight into the browser. You no longer need the app that's been sunsetted. Ensure your profile is complete. So here's some basic bits of information, but it really is that easy to use this basic bits of information. So you've got an address. If, for example, maybe you're a freelancer or you provide a service and you don't want your address to be associated to your business, a really easy way of doing this is to literally create your profile. Once you've got everything verified and you've linked your address, before it's public, so no one needs to see this, there is a tick box that means you don't have to have your address public. Your opening hours, your contact details, and remember, don't just think, I'm just going to put my website on there. If you can, and if you want more people to contact you, Think of the different user cases for this. And you might think, well, what different user cases? So, for example, when Uber Eats and Just Eat and Deliveroo and Alta Eats and all of these different services happened, before these existed, I had to order every single takeaway in this household because my wife does not like talking on the phone to people that she does not know. So this then meant that every single time a takeaway, every time I need to ring somewhere, I was the person that did it. And the reason I'm saying this is because your contact details mean don't just say give them a website. Some people are very good at websites. Some people are technology trained. Some people just develop this knowledge. My parents, until a few years ago, weren't great on computers, but they had me and they got my brothers who were able to help them through this and now are quite tech savvy according to their friends. But the reason I say this is because my wife now orders a takeaway. She'll happily use delivery. She'll happily use these because she's using something that is on her grounds, which now means if she wanted to message someone on Google My Business, she could message them and not have to ring them or go to the website or go to the app. And all of these are options where you can add additional contact details. So, for example, turning on the messaging inside here means that you can get a message direct to your phone. They don't have your phone number. They don't have your email address. If you add your phone number, or maybe you just get a business SIM card, you put it into your phone and that's just for your business, boom, there's another way of communicating with you. And this was really good, for example, the other day when it was the coronation. The local cafe to us is on a barge next to the canal, and they were selling Pimm's and cake. And they basically got the times wrong, which people could pick up the alcohol because of licensing laws. But that then meant that they received people's emails, they received their phone numbers. Some people went, can I come and collect it at about 10:30? They could then reply instantly to this. And it then meant that they actually had a communication channel to that person, which could go backwards and forwards, which then means there's another way of communicating with them. So spend this time adding these contact details. You could add a phone number, email address, website, link to apps if you're a restaurant or takeaway, for example, or to whatever it is that you deem to be another form of platform for ordering. And this all means you can communicate with your end user in their way. Adding visual content, so maybe adding pictures of the restaurant from the outside, adding pictures of the dishes, a little bit of an idea of the actual the things that are going on. Again, another really good example of this was when I was working in Manchester with Google Digital Garage in Manchester. When we were open there for 18 months and we saw so many people. It was an amazing project. I remember Manchester Council came in who were renting out their spaces and they were like, how can we engage people more? And I was saying, well, if you're renting out spaces, what are people wanting? To rent that space in context. So is there a wedding? Is there a gig? Is there a fashion show? Is there a birthday? Is there all these different reasons? So I said, but all you're giving them is a piece of paper with pictures on it. So what they eventually did was take some videos and did some 360 videos that then meant that there was a 2 or 3 minute video uploaded saying what it is, the space name, what was going on, a gig, a wedding or whatever, which then meant people could contextually watch these and go, oh, this is what it's like in 360 degrees to be in a wedding in this space. Oh, it feels good. It feels spacious. Feels like it's got a good vibe. The music sounds good in these acoustics. So straight away, you've got more options. The more visual content you supply, the more options the end user has got to bounce off that visual content. And add a logo. Sounds obvious, but just make sure you've added your logo, adding some cover photos so that when someone lands on your profile, it just gives a bit of context. It starts to bring that brand awareness to them. And it will only appear on your listing. And this time you spend now will be worth so much more later on. Verified in Google Maps. So once you've added all your information to your listing, what you'll have to do is claim that business. So if you are creating everything yourself, you'll fill in all the information. It's really simple to do. And they will send a little postcard, probably about that big, to your address, nicely linked up with Google. You rip the edges off. In the middle is a 6 or 8 digit code usually. It can be letters and numbers. And basically when you get that, you go back to Google, you type in that, and it then verifies it, which then proves that you live at that address, basically. That is all it's doing. It verifies your location is based at that address. That is all you need for a Google Maps listing. You don't need paperwork. You don't need company's house. You don't need all of this information. What you need to do this is just that small bit of information. People often get worried. I need to add all of this. I don't know where it all is. For now, that is what you need with Google Maps. And this will now mean that once you've done this and you've verified it, you can now be searchable as a business on Google Maps. And remember, until you verify, all of your efforts are in vain, because you can spend 3 hours on it and never verify it, and you may as well not have spent 3 hours on it. By all means, spend 3 hours on it and then get it verified, but please don't miss out that step. Don't just go, I'll do that tomorrow, and then forget about it. So verify now or later, entirely up to you, but you just click on that button when it pops up, or on Google, it'll come up with a little blue button as well. Once you've typed in your details, like I said, we're all good. So how can we now populate your map listing? How can we make it easy for you here? So here's some loose ideas. First of all, make it easier for you. Manage your listing. It's not necessarily all about you spending all this time. If you've got employees, you can add users. You can let them also manage this listing. If you're not massively tech savvy or you've not got a lot of time to do this, are there people that can do this with you, for you, in your business, external to your business? Start to think of this and keep it up to date. When I say manage, I don't just mean do it for 3 hours and not touch it for a year. Again, full of examples. Once when I went for an afternoon tea, for example, I was in, I think it was Windermere or somewhere in the lakes when it was around Christmas. And me and the missus, pre-kids, went, oh, I fancy an afternoon tea. We're like, what do you fancy? A Christmas afternoon tea. It was very festive at that time of year. December, mid, I think. And I went to Google, typed in afternoon tea near me, festive afternoon tea near me. And then on a picture was a hotel that did afternoon tea, but it had uploaded pictures in the festive period with red plates, with a Christmas tree in the background, with eggnog to drink. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I went. Directions, boom. Less than 3 minute walk in that direction, sold. I went back to the same place approximately 3 years later. And that Google My Business listing, since I literally did the exact same search, but this time it was a summer, and I typed in afternoon tea near me, came up. But it was the same pictures from 3 years ago, which means for the last 3 years, in the summer, in the spring, even in the winter at the beginning of it, do we want festive afternoon tea in the middle of August? Most people do not. Do we want it in January, February? Most people do not. So spend this time updating it, keeping it up to date. If there's bank holidays, are you open? Make it explicit. Maybe even put a message on there on your socials. We are open, or we are limited hours, or pre-book. All of this information is keeping your end users up to date, so that no one turns up at the shop like I did, so that nobody gets the wrong information, or that nobody gets turned off because the information has not been updated. Keep your content fresh is what I'm saying here, basically. Spend time, even if it's once a month, at worst case scenario, a little bit of a picture of something that you do, a special that you do, that month's special menu, so people can see outside of the menu, actually, here's an additional option. Keep it up to date, because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to do this for you. Go and have a quick look. I believe we've, oh, wait. Is this Maps or Google My Business, or both? What is Google Maps listing? Is it Google My Business? I don't know if Francois answered this, but if he has, he's probably answered it well. But essentially for everybody else, there is no app anymore. There used to be an app, which is why I said it's been sunsetted. Then if you go onto Google and type in Google My Business or business profile, it will come up with that sign-on screen that I showed you before. You sign in through this, and then you will get a little Google My Business listing. But that is being sort of slowly moved across to a website editor. So in the future, the idea is going to be that you just go to Google. If you're logged in and it's your business and you've got that on the screen, it will then come up with a mini editor at the top of the screen, and you can fill all this information in. So it's really easy to do. It's really easy to navigate, and it's essentially making your life easier. Can I be approved quickly with you? Unfortunately not. There was a point randomly, the Google My Business, in the Google sessions, where we actually implemented a way of quickly validating. But it only takes between 3 and 6 days. And if you do not receive that letter, you can then say, send me another one. And if you do not receive it, they'll send you another one. And then I believe you have to go through a mildly different process. But I have never heard of 3 letters not being delivered. I've heard of 1, But generally, they get there within 3 to 6 days, and it's really easy to do. Is the Isle of Wight included? I assume it's going to be covered. Yes, I believe everywhere pretty much in the world is covered. I have no idea if that affects Post. I do not live in the Isle of Wight. I have a friend that did, and my wife's family used to, but I have no idea what Post is affected with speed on the Isle of Wight. But keep the questions coming. Thank you very much for asking. It's rare we get that many questions at the beginning, so I will crack on. So the next section we're going to have a look at is how can we optimize our Google My Business. So straight away here, we can see we've got a Google My Business now. What can we do about this? We've talked about open hours. We've talked about other bits, but now let's actually talk about some things to make it optimize, to make it stand out. So include your keyword information. So in the title of your business, make sure your business name is there. Make sure you've maybe in the first sentence a few times mentioned what your business is. In the category, you've chosen the relevant information. When you are writing posts, when you are telling people about sales, when you are telling people about events, including your business name, including what it is that you are trying to sell. So, for example, if you're a plumber, the last thing you want to be doing is going, we fix pipes. Sometimes we unblock drains, and we are local to the Sale area. Great reviews. Really look forward to working with you soon. Make sure you make it. We are some of the best plumbers in Sale. Our reviews demonstrate this. We are in the top 2 plumbers in the whole of Sale with an average of 4.7 stars, blah, 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 blah. And we fix drains. We do whatever. List the jobs that you can actually do, so that when people are typing in these keywords, it links directly to your business, which means emergency plumbing near me, emergency electrician. Include these in there. If you do that, yes, it might be a higher rate, but someone who has got a leak coming out of their ceiling at 7:30 in the morning and the kids need to be in school at 9 need an emergency plumber. So literally, have you got these options for your business? Include them. These keywords are what people are searching for. Make sure you include these. Then we're going to have a look at some reviews. So how can we get reviews to help us stand out? Utilizing posts and photos, leveraging these insights. So when we're talking about these and we're talking about reviews, think of different ways you can do this. One way you have to consider is what I like to say is taking the horse to water. So if you ask someone to write your review, first of all, build it into your process. So say, for example, maybe you're a plumber. It might be you get a phone call. Hi, I've got water coming out the ceiling. I need you here ASAP. Is there any chance? It's going to be an emergency call out rate. Yeah, that's fine. It's this. Yeah, that's fine. See you soon. Boom. You turn up at the house. You walk into the house. Where's the problem? You go upstairs. Water's coming out the ceiling. Probably find the stop tap. That's how much of an expert I am with this. Turn that off. Work out what it is. Within 25 minutes, you fixed it. Turn on the top tap. I'll leave you a heater here. I'll collect it at the end of the day so it dries out everything. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Don't just finish at that point. It could then be, I appreciate you in the bush at the moment. I'm going to follow up with the email with the information that you've given me. I would appreciate some feedback on this if they're in a mad rush. Or if they're like sat in the house doing some work, it could be, could you please scan this QR code, or would you mind leaving a review? I'll send you an email later on either way. They do or they don't. Later on, they get an email. Thank you so much for today's work. This is your invoice for today's work. Hopefully you can see that I've left no mess, and really appreciate you giving me a bell. Any recommendations or anything like that, we would love to say thank you to you in the future. Here's a link to leave me a review. I would appreciate this, as this helps me build my online profile. Would you mind including the area that you live in and the job that you got done today? Even write the area that you live in and the job that they got done using the keywords that you want other people to search. Emergency plumber. You got an emergency call out today. Could you leave this in the review? Not a bother if not. And you might think this seems a bit pushy, but if you make sure it's a bit soft, you make sure that you're not pushing it on people. It just means that if someone goes, amazing service, had an emergency plumber 2 days ago, just got around to writing a review. They came, they sorted the problem within half an hour, and they even left us a little heater to make sure we could dry the room where the water fell onto. Could not recommend them enough. I will be passing this information on to family and friends. This is based in the Sale area. Great plumber. Cheers, Dave. Something like that. But now the keywords that people are typing in are now included in this review. It's now included in your description. It's included in your posts. All of these keywords mean that when someone now types in plumber near me, you build up the reviews, you've added some information, you're adding these updates. It's higher and higher and higher. And then it's the difference between 10th and someone scrolling and 1 and 2, which means someone is finding you straight away. Utilizing posts and photos. So how can you do this? Adding these posts, adding these photos regularly, using apps like Canva and so on. And the same with insights. We're going to come into this in a little bit more detail as well, which is quite good. So we need to, first of all, have a look at, well, what are the percentages around this? Why would I do this? 96% of people visit businesses with opening hours on the listing. 42% increase of direction requests for businesses with photos, mainly because you can find it as well. 90% more likely to interact with you if your phone number is visible. Because if they want an answer now, they don't have to message you. Like the example I gave you before with my wife. If she's not in a rush, though, send a message. I'll get a message back, I'm sure. But what's great about this, if I've got a plumber who I need to come to my house right now, I do not want to fill in a form. I want to be going, there's water coming through the ceiling. I live 10 minutes in the middle of Sale. You live in Timperley. I'll be there soon. You want that instant response. And that's why it's 90%. Ensure your core information is up to date. So like we've mentioned multiple times already, when we're looking at this, we need to consider that your hours are up to date, your business description is up to date. If you change what you do, if you get new staff who offer new services, if the world is changing. So for example, electricians, what do a lot of electricians do at the moment they didn't do beforehand? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Electric car hookup points. They weren't even here 7 years ago. Well, they might have been, but I never heard of them. But all of a sudden, these are now becoming the norm. So straight away, how can we start to think, how can we build this into our Google My Business? Add it as a thing. We do full house restores. We do electric fits, emergency electric work, and EV hookups for Teslas, for whatever it is that you're going to be talking about. So now when someone types in EV electric point, you are searchable. You've got reviews of people who you've done them for. You've got your services, the link to the website, your updates. So straight away, update your description with this. Update your opening hours. So co-specific information, although not relevant, every single thing here is relevant. This should be a checklist of things that you should do. So I would even recommend writing these down, making notes of these. Have you updated your opening hours, bank holidays? Used attributes to highlight service options. Add posts to your profile. Turn on messaging. Edit your description as best as you can. Not as regularly as you need to, but if you do add something, do it. Hours and services, add your disclaimer, possibly links to it as well. Utilize Google Trends. So make sure the words that people are searching are the right ones. Seeing which ones are more popular. Do people type in electrician near me, or do people type in electrical fix? I imagine electrician is the answer, but Google Trends will literally tell you the answer by typing in those two words and seeing which one is more popular. Do people type in EV hookups, or do people type in electric car hookups? Do people type in electric car charger points, EV charger points? Put them all next to each other in Google Trends. You'll be able to see which one is most popular, and then you can choose that one for your website and maybe include the other ones a bit further down so that you've still got those keywords. And if you do close because you go on holiday, because you're ill, because of any reason, just update your temporary closing hours. If it's holidays, if it's bank holidays, if it's bar mitzvahs, if it's Eid, if it's Christmas, whatever it is, it just means that the expectation of the user is already been given, rather than, I've tried ringing you 25 times, no one's picked up, I'm never ringing that company again, versus I see the shut over Christmas, but they have got an email address we can send to, and on emergencies, you can ring this number. Okay, I'll ring that number. So creating engaging posts, what can we do with this? So when we're creating posts for our end users, think about this. You want to make sure that they actually care what they're looking at. If you just got a picture of a pipe saying, fix your pipes today, not the most interesting thing. It's not got your logo on there. It's not got a contact. It's not got a call to action. So start to think about this. Could it be emergency plumbing available 24/7? Call this number today. Joe's Plumbing Services. But you've added the title onto it. You've made people think about it. At the bottom, There's a button they can push where it either rings or sets up an email to be able to contact you straight away. So the call to action is, I need an emergency plumber. Click, pardon me, click. It then instantly carries out that call to action. Use photos or videos of maybe ones in the past. So could you show a example maybe on Facebook, use the same one that you're using on Google My Business of this is how we stop the water from getting everywhere. Emergency plumber can be there in 15 minutes. Do you know where your stop tap is? Follow this in this very quick video. This will help your house not be flooded. So all of a sudden, it's an emergency plumber, it's call to action, but there's also a video that might help that person not have water for the next 10 minutes before you arrive. Write a clear description. So what is it that you're talking about? What is this offer? What is this update about? Think about concise. You don't want people reading War and Peace. You want them to read a tops 15, 20-word post that people can read in more in depth, and then they've got context of that situation. But ensure your posts are accurate, either about what you're saying, about prices, about content, so that people don't get confused, or more importantly, people don't question when you turn up if it's a difference between those or a discrepancy. So why are reviews so important? So here we have 4.9, 4.5. If I'm getting a takeaway, for example, I will look at reviews no matter what. And this is other people's opinion. But the thing is, if you've got one here with 18 reviews and one here with 407 reviews, this just means that someone spent the time getting reviews. There's a link you can literally get where it says how to get a review. But encouraging customers to leave reviews is the most important thing about this. Most people do not encourage customers to get reviews. What could you do to encourage customers to get reviews? Essentially, you've already built some relationship with them. They're in your place. They've asked you for a review. But the main thing is the more reviews you've got, the more likely other people are to see them. And then the more people that see them, the more likely you have people visiting your shop. So what could you do to encourage people to get reviews? So literally, if someone, say, for example, come into your cafe, if someone's come into your place of work, if you've just done a job for someone, ask them. I'm in a rush. Scan that QR code. I've not got a scanner. Help them. Step one, open your iPhone camera app. It's got a QR code scanner built into it. I'll show you how to do it. Boop. Would you mind leaving a review? There's one. Second one, I don't have a Google account. That's okay. There's a TripAdvisor review. I don't have a TripAdvisor account. Okay. There's a Facebook one. I've got that. Brilliant. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review, no rush. Don't worry if not. But all of a sudden, you've got the options there for them. If you're a business where you're sending emails, you're communicating with people, at the end of the process, request a review. Verbally, ring them up if you want to be direct and say, I've just sent you an email. It's a link to writing a review. Would you mind including what we talked about before? Here's an example review. Really looking forward to if you do this. It's great feedback. Any negatives, please do feel forward to email me first, and hopefully we'll be able to sort these out, and then you can leave me a good review. Try to make sure you negate that problem as well. Utilize photos and videos to stand out. So what we want to consider here is, what is the difference between like your pizzas, your businesses, and someone else's? If you're a training business, do you have any pictures or evidence of people at your training enjoying themselves? Do you have an example of your cakes, your pizzas, your biscuits, your whatever it is that you do that other people can see as an example of, well, these look quite nice. This training that people are sat in, and the picture of everyone doing the training, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're enjoying themselves. That's something that's quite rare in training. My personal preference on training is what I call professionally informal. That's my approach. But that then means when people are sat in front of me, I see them laughing, I see them bouncing off me, which means I see people at the end go, I actually really enjoyed that training. I got feedback the other year that for an IT update with training, that was the best I've had ever. And I was like, brilliant. Because IT generally isn't that interesting, but making relevant to people's situations, using user cases that people find engaging, just means then you can actually reflect this and try and get pictures or videos of content of you doing it, even if it's just you talking at the front of an audience with text changing on your post. It's about utilizing videos that make you stand out, not that make you the same as everybody else. So research your surroundings, research these other businesses near you. What do their pictures say? What have they included? Often if you spend that 10 minutes researching it, you'll see the best, you'll see the worst. But now you'll be able to add yourself to the best rather than just compromising with the worst. 90% of people say they're more likely to visit a business with photos on Google results page. So well worth spending that time on. So top tips for taking photos. Make sure you've got lighting, take it during the day. Making sure you've got focus, edit these pictures afterwards, and framing. So what do we mean by this? Here are a load of photos. The top ones demonstrate what that business is about. It's got a nice picture of it outside, which means if someone's going past and they're trying to find it, it could just be, we've got red bricks, we've got a green door, we've got a green window. I can't find it on Google Maps. Where is it? There's a picture. Oh, there it is. And you might think that sounds ridiculous, but once I walked around a building 3 times and it was approximately 80 meters every time because it was saying it was based here, but I could not see that entrance anywhere. Eventually, after I flicked through about 50 pictures, I found a picture of the entrance and then looked for the picture of the entrance because where it was quite a hidden entrance. Take some steps back and it might be that there's Subway at one side and Pret Manger, or Pret Manger, whatever you want to pronounce it, at the other side. I now know I look for those 2 businesses, it's in the middle. Spend that time, just extra time, adding this detail. A little picture of inside of the shop, a little picture of inside of your location, maybe the business, maybe the meeting room, a picture of your staff smiling, enjoying themselves. If you want to get a vibe, do I choose this coffee shop? Looks like a nice location, looks like a spacious coffee shop. The staff seem to be polite, seem to be informally dressed. They're not stood there in a suit looking uncomfortable. But on the flip side, it could be they're stood there in a suit looking very professional and they're at the desk working hard in a client meeting where everyone's smiling. All of a sudden, that's relevant for that particular instance of business. So exterior, take that step back. Interior, make sure you get a little vibe for the room. Photos of people working, it demonstrates what people are doing. It makes it more fun. The picture below is just, oh, you can pay on contactless. But the picture above has the same information, but with a fun vibe. Exterior is quite important. Make sure the business name is visible and in focus. The shop front is in the frame, so you can see all of it. You could locate this business by walking down the street because you've now got a contextual view of this business. When we're talking about internal photos, the images is bright and well lit. Please don't take this at 11:30 at night when it's pitch black. By all means, maybe take it at different times of the day, in the middle of the day when it's sunny, maybe at sunset if it's bringing a different vibe to the place, maybe in the morning it's bringing a different vibe to the place, but consider lighting. If you've got bad lighting, maybe because you're surrounded, maybe because you're in a bit of a chasm in between 2 buildings, that's fair play. Get some light in there, turn the lights on. Can you get some lights to boost the mood, to make it feel vibrant, to make it feel interesting? A wide selection of products on the show. Demonstrate, if you are a shop, what it is that you do. So, for example, here they sell coffee. They sell coffee that you can take away. They've got books. They've got persons selling the coffee itself. They've got beans. I think they possibly sell plants. They've got straws. Maybe they do ice drinks as well. But straight away, you can see there's different sort of vibes going on. You can see, is this something for me? Is it not? And we can infer what kind of business this is just from the products that are being on sale. So that extra little bit of time makes sense. Again, a really good example here of a workplace. Like, why would you want a picture of the barbers? But straight away, you can see the quality of the service. This person's not just stood there in a pair of shorts and a vest top in the middle of the day at a barber's. He's dressed well. He's looking professional. The service demonstrates it's clean. There's nice little bits of organized chaos against the window with all these different things that you might use. It's not just thrown over the place. You get a flavor of the atmosphere, the decor. You get a flavor of what the business is. So straight away, when we talk about photos of the workplace, could we do this? You could even include your members of staff in pictures so that if people have got a meeting with Joe KM, they can go online. That's what Joe KM looks like. When they walk in the business and have got a meeting, it's like, hi, Joe, rather than, excuse me, where's Joe? Who was just there. So straight away, there's loads of different things you can do just to up this time. The insights for your business. So the Google business profile will tell you how many people have discovered you online, versus how many people have actually gone to you, have linked to you. It will tell you as well about how many people have rang you, how many people have actually interacted with your business on a daily basis, provide you with graphs based upon this. So straight away, you can see the amount of views, you can see the amount of impressions, the amount of people that have typed in your business name. So straight away, you can start to see, is this making an impact? And hopefully the answer is yes. The amount of calls could be useful. You might find that on this one, for example, on a Thursday, you get 12 calls, but most Thursdays you're out of the office. Is it worth maybe hiring someone or getting a service where somebody could answer these phone calls for you? But straight away, it means you can start to see actually 49 calls a week. We started doing some advertising. We started doing Google My Business a bit more relevant. We started getting reviews. It's now 200 calls a week. It's now 400 calls a week. Is it worth spending the time on these things? I think the calls answer the question for you. Direction requests. It even tells you the location of different postcodes where people are searching and getting directions to your business from, which means you can use this information and maybe do some advertisements in those postcodes. If you've got one where there's 50 people a week doing directions to your location, there's clearly a need for whatever it is that you have for them. So this data, this analytics is not just quick snippets. It's actually very interesting how you can do this. So what you'll learn from insights is how your customers found your listing. It'll tell you if they found you directly or they found you inside search. What they did once they found you, did they click on your website? Did they ring you up? Did they ask for directions? Where are they coming from? It leaves this trail of information. When people engage the most, now you can start to see actually, do I do posts at other times or do I do more at that time? How your engagement compares to other listings. So you can sort of benchmark yourself and give yourself a pat on the back that you're improving. I'm actually beating most of the listings. What would you do if these were your insights? So straight away, you can see here that we've got image A and image B. So image A is the number of times your business photos have been viewed. So you've seen them here. You've got some nice photos. In 1 month, you've had a decent amount, 210 people view your photos. Your photos receive more views than similar businesses. Post more to stay ahead. So what could you do? Maybe start to schedule in, right, every week I'm doing different business work here. Let me use some of these pictures that I'm using to update. Here's an extension that we've just done. Here's a client's website that we've just finished. Here's some bakery options that we've just done. Could you order these for you? Here's a birthday cake we've just done. Order birthday cakes for you and your friends. All of a sudden, you're posting this content regularly, and these insights prove why you're posting it regularly. Where customers view your business on Google. So straight away, the Google service that customers use to find your business, listings on search, listings on maps. So you can see straight away that a lot of customers are on search looking for your business. What could you do with this information? Well, we know now that there's 80 people who are looking for your listings on search. Could we start doing advertising on search? Could we start to develop some more content just for search to see these numbers increase, to get more of these customers who are looking for you? Using these insights will help you find new customers. Understanding your audience behavior means you can create and develop more content that's going to match your customers. Adapt to their needs. So what is it they're looking for? Plumber near me. Okay, you're including this content in your post. You're including it in your updates. It now means that you're going to get more people finding your services. You've now added it to your keywords on Google. What else are people typing in? Emergency plumbers. Add it to these. Adapt to what people are looking for. If new needs come out, push pipes, copper pipes, lead pipe removal, water replacements, water pipe replacements for house. All of these are modern things that people are doing. And this is just a plumb off the top of my head. And these will all help you reach new customers. So we've got a few questions that I'm going to come to at the end. Use even more Google Business Profile features. So you've got categories, you've got bookings where you can link it to a secondary system. Something like Calendly or other ones exist. Google, you can link it to your calendar. Outlook, you can link it to your calendar so that your customers can book the timing that suits them when you are free, so you don't even have to do that bit. Using Street View is a really good way of doing this, a website and gift cards. Let's do a really quick rundown of these. So when you're building your profile, you can add it as a category, which means that it can compare it to other stores, but also help with search. You literally need to increase your bookings. You can get people to sign up to literally say, I want to have a quick meeting or I want to buy something. You can add this to here. So literally you add it as a booking option, depending what type of business it is, depending what options you have. You'll be able to add Calendly, and then you'll be able to track how many people have clicked on these links to help you go along. Add Street View to your listing. So what are the benefits of adding Street View? It provides even more information for the customers. So if you literally just go to Google, how can I add Street View Tour to my Google My Business listing? It will tell you. You can pay people to do it and you can do it yourself. But now people can walk around your location and literally go, I want to stand over there and have a look around. I want to stand over there and have a look around. So if you're like an office place, like trying to sell office space, you can see the office in situ, add a video, add a tour so that people can walk around into different locations. If you're a venue, you can literally walk around and spin around the location near the bar, walk over to the dance floor, add it in context. Maybe be there on a day of weddings there, be there on a day in events there, so they can see it in context and make it clear as day what that context is. But this enables your customers to make better decisions, not just decisions, better decisions, and helps the customers find you. Build a website for free. Haven't got time to build a website, but you've filled in all your Google My Business listing. You've filled in all your business profile. Literally, when you go into there, you scroll down and you'll see build a website. What it does is build you a simple website, but a website nonetheless. It grabs all the information from your listing. It then builds you a top to bottom with an about page, a simple home page, call to action at the top, contact us today, and you can put this on your Facebook. You can add this to your website, on link on the business profile. But all of these is just context, more online profile, more space. If you want to take it to the next level, maybe you're not that techy, Google Sites is the next level, and then start about thinking building your own website. The more hits you're getting, the more content you're getting, the more content builds more people seeing your website. The more people hitting your website makes you think, could I actually build a website here? I'm getting more and more hits. My brand is getting out there, and it all starts with Google My Business. It's like an ideal story. This is literally how you build a website for you on the business link. Literally on the left-hand side, scroll down, and you'll see a section called websites. You then choose your theme, choose the text that you like. When you've finished it, you can see in the top left, top right-hand corner, there's a publish button. That will then give you a URL. Once you've got this URL, you'll now be able to see that you can essentially share this URL with the world. And once you've got this URL out there, you've now got a basic website that you can now use. And that is literally, if you filled in your business profile, how quickly you can produce that website. A nice call to action at the top, get a quote, simple, not a great website, but did you have one before? Possibly not. So we're going to have a look at some of the questions. It sounds like the Google My Business is a great for fixing customers' pipes. Thank you. It's also, one second, it's also okay for my coaching business. Yes, no, exactly. It's one of those things where when you start looking at something like Google My Business, it's literally pretty much everything suits. If you've got businesses that are coaching, if you've got businesses that are plumbing, barbers, lawyers, whatever it is, you just need to find essentially what it is that people want to see and start to make sure you've included that in your profile. And once you've got all these tools like phone, directions, website, messaging, booking tools where you want to expand it, adding your products in and linking it to your individual website pages, all of these tools are totally for free and just require time. So it is well worth investing this time on here to optimize the opportunities for you to do this. So hopefully that's given you a really good idea of what it is to sort of develop your Google My Business listing. Before we finish, what are your next steps? If, for example, you're doing a Google My Business listing and you want some development and some help with this, help, not fixing. Develop as much of this as you can. Add in your description, add in your keywords, tick all the boxes for all of these core features that I've just been talking about. Once you've ticked these boxes, remember, you can always update this every month, every week. But get to this point first, please. Do not book a session. And once you've booked a session, go, can you help me with the basics? Go as far as you can physically get. Once you've got that far, then you can go, this is good. Could you help me with some of the keywords? Could you help me develop some imagery? What tools would you use? All of a sudden, you're 10 steps further than you would have been, rather than a few steps forward in the hour time that you get. So if you want to get one of these, g.co/UK mentoring, I would love some feedback. Give me a review. The same thing you do with your customers is what I'm trying to go to here. g.co/digital garage feedback. Remember, on the Google My Business listings, you can literally go to review, copy that code in your email. Please leave a review. Click on that, add a hyperlink, add that code. Make it as easy as possible. Thank you very much, Francois, as usual, for helping out with today's session. A brilliant mentor, a brilliant person who's going to help you develop your knowledge. If you ever get him on the camera, he is there every now and then. Thank you so much, everybody, for turning up. Hopefully, we'll see you again at the Google Digital Garage. See you again. Have a nice evening, and thank you all.